What's up, creatives? Welcome back. Today we are gonna draw Kakashi Sensei from Naruto. Kakashi was always one of my favorite characters, mostly just because he's so chill and kind of at first when he becomes Naruto and Sasuke and Sakura's leader. He just kind of seems like he doesn't care, and you kind of wonder why he's even in charge. But then as the series goes on, you kind of realize that he is super powerful and he definitely deserves to be a team captain. So he's one of my favorite characters and he's really fun to draw. So that's what we're going to work on today. As usual, I will be drawing in Sharpie. This is mostly just so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. But I would definitely recommend using a pencil and having an eraser handy, especially if you're just starting out with drawing. You know, I practice a lot, so I kind of know what I'm doing here. That's why I'm using the Sharpie. But if maybe you're just starting out, use a pen or use a pencil and have that eraser just so you can, kind of figure stuff out as you go. As far as the color scheme, today I have a gray. Luckily, I have a light gray, but if you just have like a normal kind of darker gray, you just color lightly. But I have this cool gray called Timberwolf, which seems fitting to Kakashi. I'm gonna just be using a blue and a forest green. Kind of the darker the blue, the better. And again, if you don't have a forest green, that's all good. But like a forest green and a dark blue are best. And then for his skin, just like a peach or a light orange will be fine. So I've got a light orange today. So let's go ahead and start out. Kakashi's head he's got kind of a tall head, if that makes sense. So we're gonna draw kind of this tall, it's kind of like a U. I use a U a lot, but it kind of has a flat chin at the bottom here. Alright, so we're going for that kind of shape. And then Kakashi is known, pretty much always hides his face. So he's got this mask, and what I'm going to do for that mask is just draw. Kind of comes up to a point so that it kind of covers his nose. So he hides his nose and his mouth. He also, for some mysterious reason, if you've seen the show, you know why, but he also hides his left eye. It's going to be on the right for us, but his left eye. And he hides it with his headband. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this line that we already made from our mask, our face mask, and just kind of keep that going up for his headband. And then I'm just going to parallel that line again and bring it back over. Because, you know, the closer that headband, ideally you want it pretty close to the same width all the way across. So try to keep it as, parallel as you can so that hopefully this line is pretty close to this line. This line is a little bit bigger in some of the drawings, especially because it's technically covering up his ear over here. We're not going to worry about that today, but if this side's a little bigger, that's okay. And then he's got the Leaf Village little metal plate here. I'm going to draw the logo at the end, though. The Konoha Village logo thing at the end. I'm going to just save that. So we've got most of his head done already. Let's draw his ears. Now, ears are kind of complicated to draw, especially the more realistic you try to make them. My advice to you, just in general, don't spend too much time worrying about ears. Ears are important to everyday life, but they're not super important for cartoon characters. Usually what we want to focus on are like eyes and hair and like accessories. Those are the things that make our characters really stand out. So don't stress too much about ears. But for Kakashi's ear on this side, I'm gonna try to put it kind of right in the middle of my head. It kind of goes down, something like that. And then usually what I'll do, I'll just draw kind of one line here for the ridge. Again, if you really want to spend more time hanging out, you know, learning how to draw ears super good, go for it. I'm all about learning how to get better. But for me, the ears just aren't super important or as interesting to draw on my character. So I don't usually spend too much time stressing over them. All right, so we're gonna draw Kakashi's eye next. Just it's like the only part of his face that you can see. Again, Kakashi's attitude, most of the time he kind of seems a little lazy or like he doesn't care, which is part of kind of the mystery of his character. So for the top part of his eye, I'm gonna keep it pretty flat, and then he's just got, I'm just gonna draw a circle like that. I can go ahead and color that all the way in. And then the bottom part of his eye kind of droops a little bit, almost like he didn't get enough sleep last night. And then his eyebrow, we can't really see all of his eyebrow. Kind of is hidden by the mask. But yeah, really what we want this eye to look like, a little sleepy, a little disinterested, I would say. He's kind of usually really annoyed by Naruto's shenanigans. For the nose is a little tricky on Kakashi because it's behind the mask, so it's mostly a shading thing. So again, I'm using Sharpie, so anything I do is going to stand out really strong. If you're using a pencil, when you draw this nose next, just think really light, and if you can just shade the nose, that's even better than like drawing the nose flat out. But for the nose, I'm going to kind of use a little trick. Basically, I'm drawing the shadow of the nose. So I'm going to draw a triangle that goes like this, and it should be lined up with the center of his face. And then another triangle that kind of represents the shadow that goes under the nose. So I have two triangles here. Hopefully you can see that. And then I'm going to color it all in like it's one piece. So it's more of just the shadow of his nose kind of poking through the mask, and hopefully when we get the blue on there, it will you know, kind of just look like a shadow. It won't stand out too much. Noses are kind of the same as ears to me in that they're not super important to the character unless you're like Pinocchio. But for Kakashi, I'm more interested in his eyes, his hair that we're going to get to later, and his like his accessories. Cool, so we're definitely starting to see Kakashi come through here. Let's go ahead, we're gonna give him a neck, and I'm just gonna draw kind of the top part of his head here. So I'm gonna give him a neck, and then I'm gonna just go ahead and draw this diamond shape that kind of shows the what would kind of be the top part of his vest. And again, if you are not super familiar with Naruto, he's still a fun character to draw, but if you are familiar with Naruto, you know that he's got the Jonin vest, which is this cool like forest green vest that means he is a high-ranking ninja. So what I'm going to do for that, he's got this high collar that comes around, and we're going to give it a little bit of a 3D look. So just go ahead and watch for this part. I'm not going to try to explain it in words, just kind of watch. Basically we're drawing these like 3D things because it's like this really intense vest that he wears. But we'll draw that, or we'll color that green later. I'll clean up some of my lines here. Alright, so we've got his neck and his head, we've got his vest. Let's draw his hair. Starting off, we're just going to give him two little spikes that kind of come under his mask here. Those are the easy spikes. The next one is the really fun part. He's got like this big tidal wave of hair. So the important thing is when we start on this side, just think we're going to start kind of small, and then with every spike we get a little bit bigger. When you get to about here, think big tidal wave of hair. Okay, it's a really big spike. Super fun to draw. You can have a lot of fun with it. If you have a pencil and eraser, you could probably put a couple pieces of hair that hang over the headband here. I'm not going to worry too much about that. I can kind of cheat it with these two spikes here. But if I had an eraser, I would go ahead and put a couple spikes that go down over his mask. Yeah, so we've got a Kakashi here. Let's do the Konoha Leaf Village symbol now. It looks kind of complicated, but it's not too bad. All right, we're gonna draw a little spiral right in the middle of his headband. Okay, so just start with that little spiral. So I start here and circle out to the right, go all the way back up to this corner, and then when I get back to this corner, I'm gonna draw like the stem of the leaf. And then on this side, I'm gonna draw a triangle, and that'll kind of help give it the leaf look. And I'm just gonna put a couple lines here for the headband, just to kind of make it look like it's kind of wrinkled a little bit. And I'm gonna put a line here for his neck. And yeah, that is your quick Kakashi lesson. So as far as coloring, I've got my light orange, and you can see how lightly I'm coloring here. Barely touching the paper. I'm going to make sure I leave the inside of his eyes white, so I'm just going to kind of, especially on this side, just going to kind of color around it. I am just lightly shading. Okay, next I've got my blue. Kind of wish this blue that I had chosen was a little darker, but it's all good. We'll just say it's a sunny day in the Leaf Village. So his mask here is blue. We'll go ahead and color this whole blue as well. Nothing like the sound of colored pencil. And guess what? His headband is blue too. Alright, and then like I said, his Jonin. Yes, this is definitely the right green. I like this green a lot for this color. What green is this? No, it doesn't even have a label on it. Now if you notice, I'm coloring the inside of this little cubey thing here. This is like his utility vest that he wears because he's a Jonin. I'm going a little darker on the inside because that kind of shows that there's a little bit of a shadow in there. That's a really important skill to learn as an artist, is that you can use one color pencil that's technically, you can get a lot of different shades and hues, a lot of different tones out of the same color. Just, depending on how much pressure you use. So I'm actually going to go back in here with my blue and add some shadow in here too. You guys make sound effects when you draw? I've always done it. Okay, now I've got my gray, or to be specific, this is Crayola Timberwolf, which is pretty cool. Be cool if you had a silver colored pencil. You could definitely use like silver to really make this stuff pop. And yeah, his hair, you don't have to color his hair super fast or super hard. As you can see, I'm just giving it a light dusting of color. Just like the weatherman says, a light dusting. Because that'll give it, you know, if you're just using gray, it'll kind of give it more of a silvery effect anyway. If you leave some of the white in there and just kind of do a light effect. Boom, that's our Kakashi Sensei. Go ahead and put your signature on it. And yeah, hang it on your fridge, hang it on your wall, give it to someone you love. Peace out, guys. Have a great day.